Good morning, everybody. So we are here today for the Study Permit Extension hands-on session. My name is Christina Saji, and I work for the International Student Services here at Fleming College. So let's get it started. So for this session, I asked everybody to open their account with Canada.ca so that we don't go over all those details that you have to use when opening your account. And we're going to start by explaining what kind of documentation you're going to need. Okay. So first you're going to need a proof of acceptance or enrollment, and this could include any of these documents depending on your situation. So it could be your offer letter. If the date of completion is correct in your offer letter, you can use that. If not, you can use a confirmation of enrollment from your student center. So you would download, get into the portal and into your student center. And that's if your studies will be completed this current semester. If not, you're going to need a letter of support from the records office. And for that purpose, you would have to email records@flemingcollege.ca. Okay. So make sure when you're emailing them, you include your complete name, your student number, your birth date, the program that you enrolled, the date of your study permit expiration date, and also send them a copy of your study permit. That's going to help them to put you in the queue for letters that are more urgent depending on the deadline that you have. Okay, so what kind of proofs of finance or funds you need to provide? So you must prove that you will be able to pay for your tuition and also your living costs through all the funds. Do not have to be in your personal bank account at this time. This could include any of the following documents scanned into just one PDF. So you can scan them all and put in one PDF. Some people will have all this documentation and others will have just one or two documents. So depending on your situation, you're going to scan them all together and transform them into PDF. So it could be your bank statement for the past 4 months, bank draft in convertible currency, your pay stubs. So if you're working, you would get a letter from your employer, or you received a letter in the beginning of your employment, and also include the pay stubs. I would say for the last 3 months or 4 months of your employment. So the employment letter, proof of assets or business. If you have business in Canada and you have any properties, you would include that as well. So a copy of that documentation, proof of payment of tuition and accommodation fees. So current and future semesters, previous semesters are not required. So if you paid your tuition, you would include that. If you didn't pay your tuition and the money is still in your account, so you would show your account statement, okay, bank statement. Tax reports, declaration or statement. So if you have done your tax report, include that as well. Proof of a student education loan from a financial institution. That's if you have one. It could be in your country, and here you wouldn't have one here, but if you ask for your bank for a loan, so you would include that documentation, okay? And a letter from the person or institution providing you with the money. So sometimes your parents are paying for your tuition, they're paying for your studies and for your stay in Canada. So if that's the case, you would include that as well. So a letter from them. Proof of funding paid from within Canada if you have a scholarship or are in a Canadian funding education program. So if you are into a scholarship and you receive a scholarship before coming to Canada and you're now using that to pay for your tuition or for your expenses here in Canada, you would have to include those as well. And proof of a Canadian bank account in your name if money has been transferred to Canada. So if you transfer money from your country into Canada, then you would include that proof as well. Okay. For a 1-year extension, you must show proof of 2 semesters tuition, so the 2 semesters plus $10,000 for living costs. So it's about $833 per month. For if you have your family with you, then the calculation will be different. And you would go to the website and then see what calculations you need for your family, but it will be more. So this is your chance as well to ask for your co-op work permit. If you have co-op work permit, which means it's a portion of work that is included in your program. So for example, if you are a personal support worker, your last semester would be an internship, right? Or you would be working with a company and it's part of your program. You receive marks for that. So if you have that co-op portion in your program as part of your program, and it was listed in your offer letter that you have a co-op, then you would have to also, this is the time to ask for your co-op work permit. And if you don't have that listed, so make sure that you contact International at flemingcollege.ca, and we are going to provide you with a letter to include. Usually it is already included in your offer letter, but if you don't have that written down, we are going to provide you a letter so that you can include it with your application. Okay. Medicals. You may also need to update your medical. It depends on how long you have done it. So they usually ask for the last past year, have you done your medical? And depending what you answer, they're going to ask you for medical or not. Okay. This is also the same form that you would ask for the temporary resident visa. So you will extend your temporary resident visa after your study permit extension is approved. So you first apply for study permit extension, and once it's approved, then you apply for your TRV, temporary resident visa. Okay, you're going to repeat the same online procedure that you do for the study permit, and we're going to go through in a few minutes. And then instead of choosing study permit, you're going to choose a TRV application. Okay. So for this, you will need the same documents you use for the study permit extension and an official transcript, which you can download from your study center. IRCC will email you when the visa is approved, so it's done very quickly in about 2 weeks. Print the letter they send you and mail it with your passport to the address on the letter in Ottawa, usually in Ottawa, enclosing a self-addressed stamped envelope, okay, and so that they can return your passport. And we recommend that you use registered mail, just because you're putting your passport in there, you want it registered, okay? So you'll be able also to track where your package is and where it's at. Right. Okay, so let's get it started. So if you created your account with Canada, Government of Canada, you're ready to go. And we're just going to go through some questions that you're going to go through once you are applying for your extension. So once you're in your account and you also logged in again, you are going to choose apply to come to Canada. That's where you're going to start your application. Right now, you only have an account, so there's nothing there, and you're going to start your application. So you're going to click on apply to come to Canada. Once you've done that, they're going to ask you about a personal reference code, which you don't have unless you have opened already an account before. So you're going to choose visitor visa, study, and or work permit. So that's what you're going to click on. So after that, you're going to be answering a couple of questions. And these questions are very personal, so it depends on your case. I'm going to give you some examples, but not all of them will apply to you. So read very carefully before you answer so that you have your answer correct. So what would you like to do in Canada? Of course, you're going to be doing study. I know that some of you are going to be applying to for your co-op work permit, but the answer here will be study. Okay. How long are you planning to stay in Canada? Your programs are usually more than 6 months. So what you're going to use is temporary, more than 6 months. Select the code that matches the one on your passport. So you could choose the passport of your country. Just remember, it's that matches your passport. Some people are born in a country, but they have passports from another country because they have been citizens from another country. So make sure that is it is the country of your passport. Okay. So in my case, for example, would be Brazil. Right? What's your current country territory of residence? Of course, you reside in Canada, so you are here, and so you would add Canada. Okay. Do you have a family member who is a Canadian citizen or permanent resident and is 18 years or older? In this case, I wouldn't have anybody if I'm a student, so the answer would be no. Some people come with their wives, but they are not Canadian citizens, so the answer would be still no here for that people. Okay. What's your date of birth? And that's personal as well. You would just include that and let them know what your date of birth is. So next, you're going to find out if you're eligible to apply. So more questions will come in and you're going to be answering those as well. So are you a lawful permanent resident of the United States with a valid U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services USCIS number? So if you are a citizen from the United States, which I'm guessing you're not, that's why you're here in Canada, but some of you might. There are some people who come from the States and they are here. So in their case, they would answer yes. In your case, you would say no. What's your current immigration status in Canada? So you are a student, you would choose a student. And what's your marital status? That also depends on you. Some people are married and they brought their wives, and their wives right now have an open work permit. For people who are not married and they are here, they are never married and they are single. So that's the answer. And what's your province of destination? You are in Ontario, so you would choose Ontario. All right, so this will bring you to the next question. Remember I mentioned to you that you would have two options, one for the study permit and the other one for the temporary resident visa. So this is the time that you're doing the study permit. If you have already done it and you receive your study permit extension, your new document, now it's the time that you would do your temporary resident visa. So you would choose the option 2 and you would continue. We are going to continue with the study permit in Canada. All right, so more questions, and you're going to have to answer them all. Are you accompanying a family member who has a status in Canada? So that means, does that person has a status? A status is anything. It could be a visitor, it could be a permanent resident, it could be a worker, so an open work permit. So if your spouse is here, you would choose yes. If your spouse is not here, you would choose no. Do you also want to apply for a work permit? This is exactly where you're going to put yes for co-op work permit if you have that portion in your part of your program. If you don't have that, you would choose no. And if you do, you're going to choose yes. So continuing, just going back here, sorry. So when does your status in Canada expire? So that's the date on your study permit. You're going to add those dates there. And there's another question that says, have you had a medical exam performed by an RCC authorized panel of physician, which is a doctor, within the last 12 months? So remember I mentioned to you that depending when you did your panel physician examination, you would say yes or no here. So just go back to that document that you received and take a look at the date. If it was more than 12 months, right, then you're going to say no. If it's less than 12 months, you're going to say yes. Do you want to submit an application for a family member? So sometimes, if you have your spouse here and you know that the open work permit ends exactly when the study permit extension, study permit ends. So they are linked together. So those dates are linked together. So if you are extending your study permit and your wife has an open work permit, you would be extending that as well. So you would answer yes or no depending on your situation. And are you giving someone access to your application? This is the case that when you have, for example, a representative that is doing that for you, or someone who is a consultant and is doing this application for you. Most cases, the students are going to do this by themselves, so they are going to say no for this one. And in the past 10 years, have you given your fingerprints and photo or biometrics for an application to come to Canada? So some people have done that and others have not. So it's very important to double check and answer correctly here. You would say yes if you have, and no if you have not. So continuing, there are some fees associated with this application. Will you be paying your fees or are you fee exempt? All the students, they are paying for their fees, okay? So the answer here will be yes, I'll be paying for my application fees. They're also gonna ask you if you can do digital copies of your documents, and that's because all the documents will have to be uploaded in PDF. So you can take a picture with your phone, and Office Lens is one of the programs that I can remember right now. You can use Office Lens to take a picture and then transform into PDF and put all the documents together. So that's exactly what they're asking, if you have that capability of uploading your documents in PDF. And you would say yes. Will you be paying your application fees online? To pay online, you can use credit card, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, JCB. So they mentioned a little bit there, debit cards like Visa, MasterCard, Interact, and you would say yes. Okay. All right, so the last part of applying for the study permit extension is just reviewing your questions. If there are any questions that you answered that you answered by mistake, you can always go back and click on this little pen that you have on the side of the form, and that will take you back to the questions. Okay, those same questions. So all that you're doing here, you're just answering questions so that you can get an application, a correct application that is for your case, for your specific case. So if there's any information here that you need to change, feel free to go back and change as many times as you want. This is just to verify what kind of application you're going to need, what kind of form you're going to be completing. Okay. All right. So can I save my application and return to complete it later? Yes, you can. So if you select the exit button, your information will be saved and you will return to your account in the main page. Okay, and you can continue application at any time by logging into your account and selecting the e-application link under in progress section. I'll show you in a few minutes. You have 60 days to submit your online application. So until you hit submit, this is just an application that you're completing, okay? The number of days remaining to submit your application appears on your account main page. So on the main page, you're gonna see how many days you have, okay? And if you do not submit your application within 60 days, it will automatically be deleted. So you will not have anything there. So how do I upload my documents is the next question. So follow these guidelines when uploading your documents. Your forms and documents must be in electronic format. As I said, take a picture and then upload them into a PDF. Okay, so those are the kinds of documents. So there's PDF, JPEG, TIFF, PNG. You can also upload in Microsoft Office. I recommend PDF because then you can put all the documents in one, okay, and upload them all together. Okay? So just remember that you have to upload